and welcome back to our channel.
So we hope everyone had a really happy new year. Since it is January, we decided that we wanted to do our December wrap up, and in the end of the video we wanted to include our favorite book of the year of 2021. So let's get into it.
So as you guys know, we have a whole reading vlog on us reading A Court of Thorns and Roses, the first one in the series, so go watch that if you haven't already. But immediately as soon as this month started, I had to finish the series, so that's exactly what I did. The first one was basically about Feyre. She lives a life of poverty. She's kind of the sole provider in her family, but she commits a crime basically and is brought to this magical realm, which she has to live out the remainder of her life. Let me tell y'all, this is when the good stuff happens, because that first book was okay, but the only thing it was really good for was setting up the rest of the series. So the first one I read this month was A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This one focuses more on character development. I feel like the world building in this was insane. So vivid. I loved all the characters you meet, and you kind of just go through friendships, relationships. There's a whole found family, and it's just absolutely beautiful. This one ends kind of on a cliffhanger, so I immediately, after I finished that, had to jump into the next one, which is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas as well. So this one kind of focuses more on the overall conflict that's happening within this world, so between the mortal lands, the humans, and the fairy realm. So there's a bunch of conflict. This is kind of about creating allies and fighting for what you believe in. So this one was great as well. This is the last one in the original trilogy, and then you have this small novella, A Court of Frost and Starlight, which basically kind of gives you a closure, and it connects the original trilogy to the new spin-off series, which I'm excited to read. So it's kind of just them rebuilding, and this one was really cute and healing, but I was super sad that the series ended.
The first one that I read was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This is basically just about Addie, who made a deal with a really evil god, and he ended up switching her words around. So now she's immortal, and everyone she comes in contact with completely forgets about her. Like, even if she just goes and walks into another room, they completely forget about her existence, which is so sad. I thought this was really beautifully written. I thought it was such a unique concept because I've never heard of anything like that before. I will admit that it was a little bit slow in the beginning, and I've noticed a lot of people feel the same way about that. I think it really picked up towards the middle and the end, and I really liked the way that it ended. And this one has so many beautiful special edition covers, so I might want to get one. You've seen them, right?
I've seen them. There's like
They're
a blue or red.
so pretty.
After I read the ACOTAR series at the very beginning of the month, I got such a book hangover, and I got into such a reading slump. It really sucked. I think just coming off of that high, like that big series, I just couldn't find anything that interested me. So I actually ended up DNFing both of these books. I did not finish. I picked up this one because I love this author. He wrote The Silent Patient. Immediately, I felt like the writing just wasn't up to par with The Silent Patient. Just could not get into this one. I'm super sad. I want to try to read it again next year, but that was the first one. Then I tried to read Ninth House. It was a mess again. I just couldn't get into it. I felt like they were just throwing so much information at me, and I didn't really care about the characters. I know that this author is really popular, so I want to try it again, but
I was worried.
I was worried for myself as well.
Because you were reading all these books and you're like, I'm not into it, I'm not into it. And I'm like, oh my God.
I couldn't get into it.
Next one that I read was The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. This is about Vanessa, who is the assistant of a really famous NFL player, Aiden. He kind of treats her like shit. She actually gets to the point where she ends up quitting, and Aiden shows up at her front door and he's like begging for her to come back, but for a really unexpected reason. I was really excited to read a Mariana Zapata book just because I know and I've heard that she's the queen of like slow burn, and I was excited because we read romance books and they like happen really fast, so I thought I would like this. But I don't know, I just felt like I didn't connect with the characters that well. Like maybe it was a little too slow for me. But I also this was like the first book that I'd ever heard like an audiobook from. So I'm thinking maybe that could be the reason why I just didn't feel the connection. Like I wasn't rooting for the two characters. I do have two other Mariana Zapata books that I really want to read and not listen to the audiobooks, and hopefully I will like those better.
After that unfortunate reading slump and me not finishing two books, I picked up this one from Blood and Ash. It's basically about a girl who is chosen from birth, and she's known as the Maiden, which is kind of like this religious character. She's supposed to be like pure and like untouched. She actually wears a veil. Big religious figure almost. On her 19th birthday, she's going to be ascended, which is basically like turned immortal, and there's a lot that goes into it. The plot kind of disappears as well, but She doesn't want this life. She's very sheltered and she'd rather be out like training and fighting with the guards. And I was excited because this is another really big fantasy. It says, unexpected fantasy, perfect for fans of Sarah J. Maas. Don't lie to me though.
Fan of Sarah J. Maas.
Because I'm a fan of Sarah J. Maas and I was not a fan of this. So I'm so disappointed, and here's why though. This whole book was so good. Like, I really enjoyed the whole book up until the very end. I was so disappointed with the way that this ended, and I can't get over it. I didn't mind the plot twist. Like, it was a little predictable, but I wasn't mad at it. I just don't like the way that they went about the main character's interactions with the guy afterwards. Like, I'm just so upset. If you're a fan of the series, please just force me to read the second one because I really want to like it. I was just so disappointed with the very end. So
I did read 2 holiday books this year. In the Holidays by Christina Lauren. This girl basically gets the chance to go back into the past, and she'll just keep reliving the past until she makes it right. I thought this was a really cute holiday read. It did get me in the Christmas spirit. It also really did remind me of The Summer I Turned Pretty, which we love. They had 2 different brothers, like the family friend group, you know, they'd see each other instead of summer, this was winter. I think this would be a really cute Hallmark movie. So
really?
If they could do that. And then The 12 Dates of Christmas by Jenny Bayless. I was not into this one at all, and I hate to say that. This one is about the girl goes on 12 dates. Obviously she like signed up for this program and she goes on 12 disastrous dates. It had so much potential to be funny. Like, none of the dates were funny. I did like In a Holidays more than this one. The next one that I read was The Visitor by Sergio Gomez. So basically there's like this huge snowstorm that's happening, and it's led 5 strangers to be stuck in a roadside diner to take shelter. The snowstorm is like the least of their problems because there's a 6th guest.
Ooh, that sounds so good.
Yeah. So this was a really short like Christmas horror novella. It was just super fast paced. Like, it was just a good one to just get out there and read during Christmas time. I really liked the idea of aliens, so I want to like explore other books that will have aliens in it.
And the last book I read this month was Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. I originally picked this up because I absolutely loved The House in the Cerulean Sea, as you guys know, and this is the same author. A Reaper comes to collect Wallace at his own funeral. Wallace is not a great guy, and he's given 1 week to kind of live before he has to cross over, and he obviously regrets the life he was able to live, so he spends that time trying to become a better person, creating relationships with the people around him, and basically just has a last chance at living life before he has to move on. It was very sad. I did cry. I did like the characters, but I do like House in the Cerulean Sea more. But overall, a great way to kind of just end my year of reading.
So the last one that I read to end my year was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I cannot even believe that I waited so long to read this one. It was so good. Like, I finally understand the hype. Evelyn Hugo is a Hollywood movie star icon, and she's like aging and she's ready to just tell her truth and like everything that happened in her life that was really scandalous. This book was told in like an interview style, but then also like present time and like the drama that's going on in the present, so I thought that was so cool. So you obviously get to read about all the husbands that she was married to, how they came to be. Was it real love or was it just to promote their movie? The characters all felt so real to me, and I was kind of like sad that this isn't a real story. Like, I wanted it to be real so bad, but it's not. It was really cool to read Evelyn Hugo's story, and I'm so happy that I ended the year with this one. That is going to wrap up all of the books that we read in December, but we did want to talk about our most favorite book of 2021, and for me that was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I was just so in love with this book. It had me crying, it had me feeling happy, it had me just having all the feels, so I think it deserves this one for me.
I agree. So mine, shocker, is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I know you've heard me rant about this book, but the good part is this should be the last time you really hear me talk about it. So this one was just absolutely my favorite book. It was a tie between this one and Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman, because you guys know I love that Scythe trilogy. But when I just think back to this one, like, it breaks my heart over and over again. It's so good. Read the first book just to get to this book, because this one was everything and more.
We did lose footage of our outro, so we wanted to do it again and just say thank you for watching.
We do post videos every Wednesday and Friday, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.
Bye!
A Court of Silver Flames, which is kind of just a small novella that ties the original trilogy to the spin-off series.
Wait, that's not what that's called.
What did I call it?
Court of Silver Flames.
That's the one I haven't read yet. Okay, hold on. I have A Court of Silver Flames, which is a small novella.
You fucking said it again.
Fuck! A Court of Frost and Starlight! And then you have A Court of Silver Flames. Oh my god! Okay! Frost! I'm gonna read it so I don't fuck it up. Original trilogy, and then you have A Court of Frost and Starlight, which is basically just a small... I got it that time though! I have this small book, A Court of Silver Flames, which basically just...
Oh my god!
This just wraps up the entire mess of a year.